The following program contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and the girls, welcome to Ox After Dark, the late night great night show where Dean the Dream Martin, Lane the Legend Kramer, and Big Ol' Fern talk about our dreams, our lives, our trials, our tribulations, and apparently now requested by the chat, Mandalorian spoilers from this Tuesday's episode.
This is the way.
Oh god, they're fucking saying that shit way too much. Well, let's get into it. Dean, how's your week been so far?
Not bad. Pretty good week. No complaints here. Didn't really fucking leave the house today. I'm still wearing the same shirt as yesterday. Just
There you go. It's the way to do it sometimes.
yeah, just lazy day today. But yeah, other than that, not bad.
Nice. Lane, how was your week so far?
Well, I mean, I spent almost 2 hours today at work getting paid to watch a movie
Really?
by
What
Adam
movie?
Sandler. So
Threat Midnight?
no, from one of his direct of Netflix, Murder Mystery, the first one.
Oh, the Adam Sandler and
Yeah, and
Why were you watching that at
Jennifer
work?
Aniston?
Oh,
Why were you
That
watching
was
that at
the-
work?
Because
It's
it
like a
was
team building?
It was a it was the monthly movie, and the boss has Netflix, and that's a movie that's like PG-13. We can get away with watching, and
What do you work at a school? You can only watch PG-13 at work? Is it like a legal
Yeah.
thing?
or something, yeah. And it was, to give my 1-2 sentence review, it was entertaining much more than the last movie we watched, which was a Halloween movie with him that was strange. And Jennifer-
Hubby Halloween or something.
yeah,
Little Nicky.
and Jennifer Aniston is still hot.
Oh, bro. So did you watch the first Murder Mystery or the new one?
The first one.
Okay, yeah, the new one comes out Friday. Oh yeah, it comes out Friday. Yeah, I can't wait for
Which
it.
is maybe why we were watching it and stuff like that.
Thanks.
I would have preferred, I don't know,
Yeah,
watching episodes of Wednesday again or something, because I like that show.
So, we got Toy Mafia, Pablo Meza, Absolute Irwin, Toy Cartel, Lane the Legend Kramer, Meowie Moi, Dean the Dream, cool setup back there, Pablo Meza, Irwin, Toy Mafia. What's up, guys? More people filtering in.
So I'm getting a lot of
Fern.
Twitch viewers. That's pretty cool.
Hell yeah. Fern, how are we doing today, Fern? It's good to see you on After Dark again.
Yeah, doing pretty good. Busy week.
Wick?
Been going ham on the Mando figure. So
Really? Yeah, Meowie, we stream mostly on YouTube, but we kind of like do it everywhere. Like it
It
it streams to like a bunch of different places. But yeah, we do stream on Twitch, but it's probably our least popular platform in terms of like viewership. But we appreciate you being here, so thank you for joining us.
But an OSPD eventually going to dominate the airwaves. It's coming, baby.
Hell yeah,
It's
baby.
coming.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we I've had a good week. It's been a good week. I may finally meet up with that guy for the second Mafek symbiote Spider-Man. So that's
Jeez.
exciting.
Still with this guy?
I don't know.
It's
I
like,
don't
bro,
know.
do you want money or not? Like,
Well, we're doing
goddamn.
a trade, so it's like.
Oh, what are you
but he had a
trading?
figure. He had a figure. I'm trading the Batman 2-pack.
Okay.
The Mafex, that goes for about $90, and then the Spider-Man he has goes for about 120. So we're doing that.
Meowie a follow on Twitch.
Yeah, Meowie says I started streaming here very recently. I hope all of you enjoy streaming tonight. Thanks, bud. Meowie, what do you stream? Tell us what you stream. We'll check it out. In fact, Dean, can you pull up his Twitch in the private chat? We can look at it
Yeah.
as long as it's appropriate.
Meowie. Wow, there we go. 100 followers, not bad.
Goddamn, how many followers do we have? We never check.
Art. Oh, they're a VTuber. Okay, cool.
What's a VTuber? The virtual?
Yeah, they have
Yes.
like the anime
Avatar.
like avatar, yeah. And they like have like face tracking and stuff. It's fucking cool, honestly.
Yeah, there are some very
How many
good
followers
ones.
do we have, Dean?
Let's see. Collecting weekly. We are live. We have 54 on Twitch.
Jesus, how do we only have 54? I've been doing this for like 3 years.
Well, yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
we don't
Twitch is,
we don't really do a lot of Twitch, so that's
Yeah.
Probably
You're also
probably
not
the problem.
don't have a sexy anime.
So, Meowie, I was your
YouTuber.
100th follower, so.
Hell yeah, I'm meowing. Yeah, so this was a pretty good week. I finally so a lot of crazy stuff has happened in the world, and I don't really know that I'm in the mood to really discuss it. So it might sound tone deaf what I'm going to talk about now, but I promise don't take it the wrong way what I'm saying. But I had done a purchase with a company called Vedder Holsters, VEDDER, and yesterday I got my holster.
Nice.
And it's a concealed carry holster, so it's like inside the waistband. And I was kind of, it sounds kind of silly, but you kind of have to practice with these things, like how to position it, how, like when you sit down, how you're going to manipulate it so that it's not cutting into your body. You know, how to walk with it, how to pick things up with it, like, you know, when you bend over to pick something up. And not only that, but you also have to kind of practice, like if you need to draw with it, like the you know, you have to get your shirt out of the way, and so kind of messing with that today. But today was the first day I actually wore it out in public.
Nice.
And it was interesting. So there's kind of different ways to conceal carry. One is called appendix carry, which is pretty much like if you think of your body as a clock, 12 o'clock being the front. It's basically like 12:30. You know, you got 3 o'clock to your right, 6 o'clock behind you, 9 o'clock to your left. It's about 12:30, and that was okay. A bit uncomfortable when you sit down because the gun basically is like right in your fupa, right on the penile structures. And so another carry that I'm trying is 330, which is like if you think like FBI, they have what's called the FBI cant, where the gun kind of tilts forward and it really tucks in nicely into the small of your back. And that one's a bit more comfortable, so I'm kind of experimenting with that.
I don't
But
have a
boy,
small
it
of
was
my bag.
it's all
I have
it's all
a
beautiful
very
though.
large of my bag.
But it was interesting. I felt like everyone was staring at me, like, and like I think I concealed it pretty well, but it was kind of, I don't know. It's not illegal by any means, but it just feels weird, like having that on you. You know what I mean? So I was still getting used to it. I had to step into the restroom to like kind of adjust because I was like, man, this is getting all over the place here. But yeah, it's an interesting journey that I've started, and I know we've had a lot of people request that we make the CW gun channel. That is still a thing. We're still working on that, working on the branding, working on the name of you know, how we're gonna brand it and everything like that. So stay tuned for that. I promise it is on the table still. Yeah, SpongeBob says, keep that safety on. You don't want to blow your tallywhacker away. Yeah, that's the thing about Glocks. They don't have physical safeties. They're all internal. But Glocks are very safe guns. And I have a very high-quality holster that completely encapsulates the trigger. So,
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
theory.
a lot of, I think, yeah, most guns, the safety is the trigger pull. So, like a 12-pound trigger, it like almost nothing is going to fucking force that thing to go off. But yeah, you
Yeah,
can
the
never
Glock-
be too careful.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I want to get that Hellcat. I know, Dean, I was talking to you, you're like, oh, well, you already have 9mm. But the Hellcat has, they made a version with a manual safety. And I feel like if I was carrying appendix, I'd feel a little bit more comfortable with that. But this is the holster that I got. Let me pull it up on screen here. It's the Light Tuck Kydex. Really nice. You can pick, you know, your gun. You can pick the model. So 43X with TLR6. And you can even change like the color. It's pretty cool. You can do all kinds of colors. I actually like the Tiffany blue. It's actually pretty cool. You can do all kinds of different things. And yeah, it's a neat little company here that they custom designed them, but it took them forever. King Ding, I have the 19X, but the one I carry is the 43X with a hollow sun red dot. But man, it's been an interesting week.
Where'd you put it? Like in the front?
So if you think of your body as a clock with 12, think like 12:30. So
If your
just a
belly
little
button
bit
is
to the
12.
right. Yeah, your belly button's 12. And then, yeah, Ben, Tiffany Blue does not scream concealed. You're not wrong. And then also 3:30. So the 3:30 felt much more comfortable, and I think that's kind of where I'm going to start and eventually work my way to appendix. And the reason why, there's like a bunch of studies done where people that have been in a self-defense situation, and one of the things that I've read is like appendix is like if someone gets the jump on you, that's the best way to carry, because usually you'll have a better chance to draw from that position than if you were reaching all the way to your back. You just have to pull it out of your front. So crazy stuff, man. It's a crazy world we live in, right?
If you're a big guy, you kind of have to have it on your side. You know, you can't put it in the
Well,
front.
you would think that, right? But you know, the FUPA, the tactical muffin top, actually conceals the pistol quite well.
You were
hides
walking
the,
around. Everybody was like, "Man, my boy packing." You're carrying.
Is that a pistol in your pants? You have to see me. Yeah, so it was a good week. We got Easter coming up, and I've been doing a bunch of 3D printing for Easter. In fact, I'm gonna pull that up because I think it's such a fun print. Dean, I think you should make one for your mom. I think she would like it. Let me see here. Go to printables.
You don't know anything about my mother.
That you're not wrong. You are not wrong. But I think it would be a nice gesture, right? A nice gesture. So these are Easter
This is
eggs.
fucking
I don't know if the Jewish people celebrate Easter, but this is the there's different modern arts, and I love them. I've printed lattice, spiral, striped, and that honey dipper looks cool. But anyways, they're just little eggs. They're fun to
that's
print.
cool.
Yeah, they're pretty fun. Nothing groundbreaking here, but just a little bit of modern art. Yeah, King says it sucks wearing on the side. It hurts when you're driving. Yeah, definitely. Fern tells me to share a video. Let's see what we. Is it what is it, Fern? Give me the down low on this.
I guess it's Stone Cold slapping somebody, but I don't know if it's fake or real, or it looks kind of fake. But
Okay, I'm not pulling it up
kind of-
if it looks kind of
it's
fake.
kind of funny though.
Okay, hang on. Let me see here.
I mean, fake or not, he slaps the shit out of him.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Let's see here.
Did we get voiceover of James Ross going, Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold?
Don't go.
I'll be honest, I'm not gonna share this because with Twitch you can't drop the volume. Can you see, Frank? Can you see if you can find it on YouTube? That's just gonna blow my eardrums out if I play it on this one. If you can, please. If you can, please. It's very quiet now. No one's saying a word. Fern, can you do it for me? Can you fucking say something, please, for love of God? I fucking hate dead air. Actually, shout
Say
out to
yes,
Cash.
motherfucker.
Shout out to Cash the Gemini. He got married, and that's
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah, that's really exciting. Very exciting for Cash the Gemini.
What a
I'm very
guy.
happy. What a guy!
He's
What a guy
such
indeed!
Sweetheart too.
What a guy indeed!
I was like, I hope she knows. Oh, okay, he's in the chat. I was like, I hope she knows how lucky she is. He's like, no, I'm the lucky one. Which
I think we're all
what a
lucky to
sweet
be
thing
in
to say.
Cash's presence. I love that guy. I really do.
Yeah, he's funny, dude. His first stream with us, dude. He's like admitting the crimes.
Oh god.
And we're like, maybe don't incriminate yourself on air. Oh,
He's a
that's
good guy.
So funny,
He's a
dude.
good guy. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's
Cypher
sent it to you
says,
on Messenger.
when I carry, I prefer low back holsters, more comfortable in driving. Mark, send me what that is. I'm curious. Archangel says I proposed first, and he said no. What do we want to talk about today? What do we? I was thinking
I
maybe we
sent
could
you-
find.
I sent you the video on Messenger, by the way.
Okay, thank you. Let's see here. So this is who is this? Stone Cold Steve Austin slapping somebody. Let's see here.
yeah, it's gotta be fake.
They don't know who you are, man. This is Stone Cold, man. No.
I mean, you just smacked the shit out of all of them.
Dude, I met Stone
Bill
Cold Steve Austin
Smack-
one time. It was badass.
Yeah, like 58 or 59 years old and still slapping dudes down.
God bless
Yeah, he
this
used to
beautiful
get groceries at my HEB, the one I
Yeah.
worked at.
Yeah, that definitely felt a bit fake, but
Yeah, well, yeah, I think that was, yeah, that
There we
was
go.
about as realistic as when CM Punk tried to actually do UFC.
Wow.
Ooh,
And then got
you guys all into
smashed.
video games
Mm,
for tier lists?
Yeah.
A tier list? Video game tier
Hmm?
list? I mean, if you don't
Do
put
it.
Elden Ring at the top, then
Is Elden Ring
Well-
even in here? I don't know.
I would just say speaking of getting slapped, I just got slapped a little while ago with a payment.
Fuck it, let's do it.
request.
you just said you weren't going to talk about that on stream.
You motherfuck! I'm just kidding. Yeah.
No, I said I was going to talk about this on stream, but not the other.
No, I specifically said save it for the show, and you said, "Oh, I wasn't going to talk about it on stream."
No, I was referring to something else.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Tell me, Lane.
Not
Talk
to
to
that.
me.
Okay.
Tell me the words. Tell me
So
the words
I-
of the people.
Okay. So I just, brother, it's that kind of evening. But it's, because I just got hit up a little while ago from Spec Fiction for the XM Studios quarter scale classic purple suit Catwoman that
Okay.
Spec Fiction had in stock and needed me to pay for it, and I was like, I didn't literally seen anybody say that they had gotten it or showed it, or I went on to Facebook on some of the groups I'm in. I didn't see anybody have any information that it was even released. So I was like, what? Okay. But I got confirmed from Todd that they had it in, and I just paid it before actually coming on here. So
What
I
was
guess I got
that? What was the price on that?
it was like $8.95
Jesus. What, third scale or quarter scale?
quarter scale.
You know what really sucks when you miss out on a statue? It's not a great feeling, to be honest.
Well, I've had it pre-ordered since last August. I pre-ordered it quite a
Mhm.
while, when it was first, within I think 3 weeks after it was announced or so.
Uh-huh.
So it's one I knew it was coming. It's supposed to be quarter 1, but I hadn't seen anything. And I'm just used to sometimes for spec fiction. Usually you take whenever it's released, and probably it's going to be a couple months
Mhm.
after that or something. But so I confirmed that you have it said on the thing you have this in stock. Last time I ever got anything, it was I had 30 days to pay it or something because it was supposed to be coming, which was the J&D Catwoman I got. But
yeah, that's what I had to do with Punchline because people started getting theirs, and
she came early.
I didn't get any notification from them that it was in stock. So I messaged them. I was like, "Hey, is the Punchline ready to ship?" Because I think I put it on a payment plan. I had 2 or 3 months left, and I was like, "If it's ready to go now, I'll pay it off and get it here ASAP."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yeah, it's in stock, ready to go." I was like, "Fucking charge me, let's go." So I'm still waiting on it. So.
I had to because I knew it was supposed to be quarter 1, way back when it was first announced. But we're kind of used to stuff whenever they say whatever quarter or relative date. We're used to it. It definitely, maybe being especially a Hot Toys collector, we're usually used to going, well, better take that and add somewhere between 2 to 6 months,
Right.
to it, especially the last couple of years. But XM's been relatively on time. But I had only heard about the Maestro, that super huge, big, expensive statue coming for $4,000 or something for that
Yeah.
Hulk. So that's why I was just surprised, and so I paid that off, but I had to cancel a couple of Hot Toys that I had on order because I gotta since I thought I was gonna have a little bit of time notice beforehand, So I guess I got a statue coming. Now I'm gonna ask, can they ship it the week after next? Because my other big thing is actually next week. My parents are coming to visit, for Easter weekend. So they're coming from Florida. So I'm probably going to see, can they ship that after they come to visit? My parents hate collectibles. Any shit like that, they hate. They hate it. They think it's trash. They think it's wasting your money. Lots of stuff. because they're
How
old
dare they?
Well, good thing
and
it's not their
non-collectors and
money.
stuff. Yeah, well,
Lane, you just gotta put them in a home at some point, bro.
yeah,
You
no,
can't say that.
no,
Why can't you
yeah,
say
no. Well, my dad for years after my mom fell out of my sister's house and broke her leg 3 or 4 years ago. It took a year and a half to recover. My dad continually would say to make her crazy, this happens again. Sorry, I'm gonna have to put your mom in a hole. And he would say that to her all the
Dude,
time.
he abandoned that lady, bro.
No. Now, to be fair, he waited on her hand and
He
foot.
abandoned her, bro.
He waited on her hand and foot
That's
for
abandonment,
almost
bro.
a year because
Lane,
this
I
was
You're
wouldn't
having-
put
supposed
you
to
in a
do when
home,
you
man.
marry someone.
So sickness and in health, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Can I tell you guys?
Yes, Paul.
This is gonna be a long tangent, and I need to get this out because I feel like there was some fuckery today at work.
Yeah, go ahead.
You guys okay with that? So I work with people that are disabled, and a portion of my job is to advocate for these people because they can't do it for themselves, right? They have speech impediments, hearing impediments, visual impairments, just depending. One of the guys that I work with, he uses a door opener. So there's a remote on his wheelchair and several places in his house. He can press a button, his door will open for him.
Nice.
Now that hasn't been working for a long time, and I've been trying very hard with a lot of different people to get it fixed. And so I got to the point where we were working with a company and they basically just said hey, we can't fix this. You're just going to have to get it replaced. Right now with people that are on Medicare, Medicaid, and this program called the CLASS program, it's a community living assistance social services. Whenever there's an expense like this that's over, I think it's over $1,000, they have to go through different sets of paperwork to get it paid for. And it's not like you just snap a finger and it gets done. You have to get doctors involved, therapists involved. They come out and look at it. It's to safeguard against Medicare fraud, which, yeah, I understand. And so we had done a bunch of paperwork so that he could see a therapist, but we hadn't got back anything from his primary care physician's office, right? And they had sent the paperwork twice. So, and this is a very, very reputable doctor's office where we live. And so when I called them, they were like, well, I'm sorry, but the doctor that his primary care physician doesn't work here anymore. And they haven't worked here for a while. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. But at the same time, this paperwork was sent on March 8th and March 16th. And no one called to tell us that doctor's not there anymore. And if I hadn't called today, we would have continued to have sent this paperwork without notice that this has happened. And they're like, okay, well, we sent a letter to all this doctor's patients to explain that she had left. And I was like, okay, well, I never got a letter. So they did some investigating, which I don't understand why they needed investigated. If I tell you that I didn't get it, you just take that at face value. They did some investigating. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry. It turns out we never sent you that letter. And I'm like, okay, well, you're not really making yourself look very good right now. So I was like, okay. And I was like, well, this practice probably has a dozen doctors on staff. And I'm like, can you just get any of those doctors just to sign? Literally, they just need to sign this paper and he can see a physical therapist. That's all I need. And so they're like, well, they really want to see him because it hasn't been since August that he's been here. And I'm like, okay, so they want to see him because they're concerned for his health, or they want to see him so they can sign the paper? Because those are two different things. And they're like, well, it's been a while that we just want to get eyes on him to see him. And I'm like, okay, well, one, you guys were supposed to have scheduled him an appointment and you didn't for lab work. And two, he needs this done today. He needed this done March 8th, right? At this point, we're already 3 weeks behind. So I need you to just sign this paper and we can come in next week or the following week because he has appointments all week. Well, we can't do that. The doctor really doesn't feel comfortable doing that. And so I have to explain to this lady, look, if his health is such an urgent matter to you guys now, why all of a sudden, right? He had lab works that were supposed to be done in August. They didn't get done. Told us to come back in November. We came in November. We literally were there at the office to do them. well, the paperwork's not coded right. We're going to have to schedule you again. They never scheduled us again. So it's like, clearly this isn't a concern for you guys. And clearly you guys are not doing your job by not informing us of what's going on. And you're just delaying this paperwork even further. Because now they're like, well, it's going to be May before, if you don't come basically tomorrow, which is, you know, at 3:40, which is not going to work. They're like, then we can't see you until May. And so after like 3 hours on the phone with patient advocacy at this facility, they're finally going to try to find a doctor to sign it. But it's just like, I just don't understand why everyone is being so difficult. And the thing that's looming over our heads is, and the reason why we really started hitting the ground running on this week, is he has a housing inspection on April 9th, which if he fails, which he will fail if his door isn't working, then he loses the housing assistance that he's on. So it's just like, I really need them to sign that paper. And even if they do, I know it's not going to get done by that date. But it's just like the shit that I have to deal with. And I feel bad because I know there's old people or disabled people out there that don't have someone that will make those phone calls for them. And so it's just like, you know, if you don't have someone that's willing to do that for you, then I feel like there's a lot of people that just get lost in the system and just don't get the things that they need. So I was literally on the phone with this doctor's office for 3 hours today. And I was like, at the point where I was like, I mean, we're just going to find him. Like, if you're telling me you're not going to sign it, then we're just going to find him a new doctor. Because that's why we left his old doctor, right? They're fucking us around with paperwork. So that's my little rant, because it literally took like 3 hours of my day trying to get into these guys' heads that, look, you just got to sign this paper, and then we can figure out the appointment stuff later. But yeah, everyone's on mute, so if you guys are talking, I can't hear you.
Yeah, people just don't want to do their fucking job, dude. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I could do that for you, but it'd be easier if you just came in here and then do it this way. It's like,
Yeah, and they're like, can you bring the
it's not
paper
about
in?
what's
I'm like,
easy for you. It's what's for me.
well, the thing that pissed me off is like, it was faxed to them, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, the whole time I'm like, I need you to just confirm that you physically have seen the paper that's been faxed 3 times, because you're telling me it's not in his file and it's already been sent 3 times. I've confirmed the fax number 3 times. I don't understand how this is so difficult. And we're talking like, this is like one of the top 3 doctors, medical groups in San Antonio. Like, this is like a huge practice, right? Award-winning practice in San Antonio. And yeah, I even now, like when I got home, I was like, I don't know what the result of that phone call was. Like, it didn't really seem like anything was resolved. So now I got to call them again tomorrow and deal with that shit. And it's just like, I get paid enough for this. It's bullshit, man. I'm just trying to get this guy. And it's at the point where I'm like, can I just fix this thing myself? Like, fuck, it seems like it shouldn't be this difficult.
Right.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. So that's my work thing for the day. But anyways, do you guys want to do a tier list, or you guys want to go straight into Mando
I thought
talk?
we were
It's up
talking
to you guys.
Mando, yeah.
Okay, you guys want to talk Mando? Okay, so let's if the chat's cool with it, drop a comment. We're gonna talk Mando spoilers for last night's episode. Yeah, Lemur, that's exactly what I think. They just want to bill him. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, it's clearly not that you need to verify anything. Like, he has a lifelong disability. Like, there's literally nothing that would need to be seen other than you just want to bill him, right? Collector Joe with the super chat for my fellow Texans. What's up, guy? Love that guy. Let me yeah, if the chat's cool with it, we'll talk Mando. I just want to get some yays in the chat before we go straight into spoilers. There's a thumbs up. Let's start spoiler free. We'll do some high level discussion, then we'll get a little bit more specific. I don't know. I feel like lately, Dean, Star Wars has not pushed forward enough. Right? And I said this with Mando. I've said this with Mando, but it's like they have pushed things forward with characters like IG-11, and then they continue to go back. right?
Right.
And it's the same thing with the sequel trilogy, right? They started doing something different, and then they reverted to, well, let's just go back to the original bad guy. Let's go back to the Death Star thing, right? And at some point, like, I understand that they want to set up other things, but at some point, I feel like you have to push forward, right? And this episode, we revisited someone from I think it was the first episode, the Pirates.
Yeah.
And then we revisit in the finale of the episode, I'm going to keep it spoiler free, a big character from earlier in the show. And I just feel like at this point in the season, we're already past the halfway mark. It feels more like a bunch of side quests, and then the last few minutes of each episode is like just a little bit to nudge the story forward. And I don't feel that we're going forward enough, and I feel like we're constantly getting stuck into, well, remember this bad guy from a long time ago? Oh, he's still there. Or, oh, this happened. I thought the plot was really stupid. I didn't understand. So the chat's saying to spoil it. So let's go ahead and spoil it. I don't understand why Mando. So in the episode, the pirate forces from the first episode return, and they're like laying siege to the city. And I don't understand why Kim's Convenience X-Wing fighter is the first dude that Grief Karga reaches out to. That makes absolutely no sense to me. Like, at all. Like, literally 0 sense to me. And then this dude is like, okay, well, I'm going to go fly all the way to Coruscant to deal with some bureaucratic shit. And then and I don't even understand why they're having these ex-Imperial officers involved with the New Republic at all. I think that's so stupid.
Yeah.
And that stupid bitch is like, oh, well, they should learn themselves. And it's like this weird, like, tense confrontation. I hated that. And then he goes and flies all the way to the covert to get them. And it's just like, why did we even do all that? You could have just had the message go straight to the Mando, right?
It
made no
it
sense.
feels like that he would reach out to first is, Mando, I need your help.
Exactly. And, like, I did like the Zeb introduction for sure. Slifer says it's Thrawn foreshadowing, and I understand that. But again, we're continuing to go back, right? I don't need Thrawn to be the big villain of this series, right? You have to get away from the whole galaxy only having, like, 20 people. Do something different.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I just feel like the whole thing with, like, this is the way is just getting super annoying. Like, you know, the ending of the episode was okay with Bo-Katan and the Armorer, but I just don't feel like this season at this point really has very many redeeming qualities. I would say this was probably the second best episode, but that's just because all of the other ones have been terrible. I didn't like it. I thought, you know, Paz Vizsla, I was like, bro, if this motherfucker tries to sandbag what's happening, I'm literally not watching the show. Unfortunately, he was not a dingus in that moment. But it's certainly up to like halfway point of his speech. I was like, bro, come on. So he redeemed himself a little bit. He's still a dingus, but he's not as much of a dingus. But yeah, I genuinely, I give this episode like a 6 out of 10. It was okay. But it just, I'm just not that invested in this story. And, the fact that the Kim Convenience guy is like the guy that he keeps bumping into is just funny to me. And
yeah,
I don't know. It's just not, I'm just not entertained, to be honest. And I hate to say that because I fucking love the Mandalorian show. Like, you just look behind me, I have so much Mando stuff. Lane, what are we thinking here?
Oh, I disagree. I enjoyed the episode quite a bit. I'm not a fan of Captain Spacey Weed or Davy Jones Light, or I wish I was Davy Jones.
I call him the spaghetti. What is it? Seaweed Man?
Yeah, just it was. I enjoyed this one much better. Now, I'm not going to say this season has nowhere near been as good as season 2. Because even though season 2, what's weird is because there has kind of this this series has really not had like a side episode, really. What I would say for where it feels like I'm watching filler episode, like, you know, the Ice Spider episode or something in the first couple episodes of season 2, which literally had nothing to do with anything that was going on. There's actually been kind of the overall plot of what characters are doing have been tied together, except for the IG-11 stuff. That was the only thing that felt like, even though we were asking, why is it got to be this thing? Why did it just get suddenly dropped? Other than did someone say it's going to be too expensive to like reanimate doing the CGI for the robot or something?
It was like
that?
Yeah,
You know,
it's like
and
they
then
needed an excuse to bring in the X-wing pilot, and it's like, he knows R5.
Yeah. So,
and it's like,
yeah.
oh, I worked with R5 in the Rebellion. I'm like, when was that motherfucker in the Rebellion?
Yeah, when was he ever? Yeah.
Yeah, but I enjoyed the episode because at least the pirates did sort of contribute later in the season, because I was like, why am I even looking at this guy at the end of the first episode? So I didn't mind that. I'm not going to say though that this is as good as the second season. Like that to me was best Mando.
This has all felt like, because the thing with Zeb is like, oh, you guys remember this guy?
But they didn't say him by name, so people, I guess it's in the credits.
Definitely
that it
him.
Says, well, no, I know it's
actor.
definitely him, but I'm saying, like, I guess people understood it's him from the credits, right? Like, it would say, like, Zeb Aurelios, right?
Well, his voice actor.
Yeah. I mean, that... well,
it's the guy who does Spike Spiegel.
Well, it's
but
weird.
Yeah, and then the thing with Moff Gideon at the end with the Beskar, it's like, I'm thinking it's Sabine, and it's like, okay, so is this whole season just leading up to the Ahsoka show? Like, I want Mando
exactly.
Yeah, it's like this whole season is just an excuse to get there, and it's like,
well, I'm not even thinking Ahsoka. I literally think this feels like it's a season to set up what may be, because I think Mando could be ending with 4 seasons. I know that people think 6. I think it was meant to be like 4 seasons, like or so, like 32 episodes. I think, and this is not a good thing, mind you, but I feel like this is that. I don't want to quite say filler season, but like this season is completely about starting to a little bit moving pieces, because it is like this show is become the Iron Man 2 of the Filoni Favreauverse or whatever corner of Star Wars, where Ahsoka, I think the Ahsoka show is going to be the next like important piece of it, really. I think the thing that keeps throwing us off is all of the connection stuff. And, you know, this may, you know, just to be fair, I'm not going to necessarily some of this stuff. Now, it's probably somewhat creatively
finish
their
a
choice.
thought, Lane.
Okay, but this could be some of the stuff that's throwing us off is all the setting up Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I don't like
Clone, all that shit. That's what's throwing off this season. Because all the stuff I mean, minus some of the stupid plot things like the kids being alive the side of the belly of the monster for like 2 days or something like that. Okay, that is pushing it maybe a little too far, but you know what? It's fucking Star Wars about space wizards with lightsabers. I'm gonna suspend my disbelief a lot more even than I will for some of the weird shit.
I hate that excuse so much.
I know.
It's like, this doesn't make sense. It's like, oh, it's about space wizards. It's like, okay,
I know, but I'm understanding.
It's a really shitty excuse for bad writing.
Yeah, I'm still bad writing, but I'm willing to put aside certain things where I go, that's fucking stupid. Now, Paz Vila charges in when they say stuff like, I need to know better. Yeah.
I need to address this comment here because I felt the exact same way and it fucking pissed me off. Vintage Rebellion says, Kim's Convenience is the worst detective ever. It's a piece of Beskar, so it was 100% Mandalorians. First off, we've never seen Beskar just like get damaged, right? And every time we've ever seen it is basically impervious, right?
Yeah, it's like vibranium.
Only time we've ever seen it damage is when it's been forged. So this mystery Beskar chunk is such a lame... It's as lame to me as Bo-Katan's shoulder pad falling off as an excuse for her to get a new one, right? To make new toys.
Yeah, it's like
I say that as the guy 3D. I say that as the guy 3D printing the shoulder pads, but it's like, okay, so what in this ship was strong enough to damage Beskar and embed it in the wall of a ship? Absolutely nothing. And also, how in like unorganized is the
They
New
really
Republic?
they're really making the New
This
Republic seem
motherfucker's
a
like,
bunch
we
of
haven't gotten
idiots.
transmissions from them in 2 weeks, and he's like, okay, I'm just gonna fly over there myself. Like, what the fuck is this? This is Star Wars, where you can have basically in-person conversations with people across light years, right? Instantaneously, and he has to like go in person to like talk to this guy, and then it's already been stated earlier in the season that Moff Gideon is like being interrogated somewhere, and people, they're just finding out now that that ship never made it there and he's missing. It's so fucking weird.
And they waited for the cheap pop using the old Tidarian shuttle. Like that was
Yeah,
to me
this
some cheap
doesn't
answer.
make-
I'm like, what? It's a
Th-
wait. Why are they using an Imperial shuttle? We never see them. They're like, get rid of all the Empire's crap.
It
Bring
doesn't,
it down
Lane,
or burn it.
it doesn't make any sense to me. Vintage says I think it was a Beskar Ninja Star. I think that shit's too precious for them just to be fucking flinging that shit around. But I guess they did have the
Ain't
whistling
Duracell, bro.
birds, which are made of a little bit of Beskar. Pablo says they had to give a reason every episode for Bo to remove her helmet. Now she doesn't need to wear it all. Yeah, I didn't understand that either at the end. Like, this bitch has been so fucking hard on the fact that no one's ever to remove their helmet, and then she's like, okay, just remove it.
I honestly thought the fucking armor was going to turn out
If
to
she
be-
would have taken the helmet off,
I thought
would've
she
been
was
like,
going to end up being Sabine, but she's probably a little too old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
first
really-
off, the Ice Spider episode might actually be my favorite episode of the entire show.
No, I am
So
not. I'm.
I love that
I did not
episode.
say. I did not say it was a bad episode with the frog lady, but I mean it was a complete side story. Not really. It was a single filler episode ish thing, where
Yeah.
there is where the problem with this is we're moving. It feels like we're moving too slow. Because
Yeah, exactly.
it really has to do with those 40 minutes put to the stupid doctor and the whole cloning and which is the Emperor Rise of Skywalker crap. We like spent the longest episode where literally maybe that was a part of like the 28-minute episode or something. Like that was half of it. But you crammed all the episode afterwards could have been in that hour or Bo-Katan.
Mhm.
All that stuff could have been the hour episode. So that would have been one episode. Have part with that and part whatever. We should be like all this shit. Like today should have been episode 4. So we're set up now. What's the main half, the entire second half of the show? Bo-Katan getting other things together, retake Mandalore. We do that over 4 episodes and maybe a little bit whatever the hell Moff Gideon's doing. Like that Moff Gideon crap could have been in that episode at the end as the teaser.
This needs to be like the last we hear of Moff Gideon, because him being like the big bad in the season, or even Thrawn, is so out of left field that it just doesn't make any sense, right? Because they're trying to retake Mandalore. It's like, from who, right? No one's there. There's like
they call it a tomb, man.
The indigenous like people, like I guess that does set up one of those two people as the big bad guy. But why would they, like, if they were trying to retake Exegol, right? I guess, but it's like Mandalore, the place that literally no one is at, and it's just, it makes no sense. Like even from episode 1 of this series, right? You're gonna remake IG-11, and where is he going to go in your ship, right? He's gonna sit on your lap because it's there, or in the back seat, and he definitely doesn't fit in the back seat. So it even from then, it was just like I just don't know what's happening in this story. Yeah, I don't know, man.
But does it feel a little bit to you guys, and Fern, since you haven't had a chance to talk yet, I would ask this question to you. Does it feel a little bit like, I'm going to say the cloning, that mystery stuff, the kind of the Imperial stuff with the other, the communications lady and stuff. Does that feel at all like that's maybe Lucasfilm stuff that's saying has to be included in the story to make sure that we set up the...
Say that one more time, Lane. The ex-Republic lady.
Yeah, no, the communications lady for...
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
Does that feel like Lucasfilm is saying, okay, we're letting you do all this stuff you want with the Mando. However, as part of the Bible or treaties or whatever they have,
I mean, I agree completely.
They have to include that stuff in it too. to make sure there's no way to get rid of the sequel trilogy. Is what happens to everybody. You can't get away from it even if you want to.
It felt so incredibly forced when he walked into that dude's office, and then that lady is like,
just happened to be there.
I'm like, bro, let's get away from the same 20 people. For the love of God, like, not this lady is just.
I'd like to know how
they're leaving her alone during medical procedures. Like, they're letting her into like these super important people's offices. Like, no wonder fucking Palpatine returned, because you're fucking incompetent. It's just.
Well, that's terrible. The whole point. They're trying to make, but they're making the New Republic seem too stupid.
Exactly.
And maybe they did come off too stupid. Maybe they're just going, well, they were shown to be complete morons as they got themselves completely obliterated and stuff in The Force Awakens. But we would just go, yeah, but that could just be, they were too stupid in that movie. But you guys are doing a TV series where you could show they're not completely incompetent or something, you know? So why do you keep attacking? I know that was that was a big thing that did make a certain amount of money for it, and it was kind of supposed to be the end cornerstone of that era or whatever. But this is supposed to be kind of doing its own thing where it could just be a fucking separate, it could be a separate timeline, kind of in its own, going off on its own thing, you know?
And this is why, like,
yeah,
for better or for worse, I felt like Kenobi did a really good job, staying somewhat self-contained, right?
For
like,
worse.
Well, that wasn't a good show. Let's be honest. But at least it wasn't a bad show setting up another bad show, right? Because that's what Book of Boba Fett was, right? Fucking 2 of the 7 episodes or 6 episodes were Mando episodes to set up this show.
Which were better than some of the episodes we had in season 3.
But Andor was fucking awesome. And I genuinely feel like it might be the best that we're ever going to get. And
nobody watched
it was fucking good. And that's a shame, Lane. You're absolutely right. No one watched it. It's a shame. I will say I didn't love every moment of the show, but overall it felt like a very
tight story.
Thought out. It was tight. I didn't feel like there was a lot of wasted moments. There was a lot of epic moments. A wonderful music. Mando's whole. I saw someone complaining like anytime Mando does something cool, the Western theme starts playing. Sliver says this show feels more like the Bo-Katan show, which isn't a bad thing. I think she's such a great character. I mean, she was pretty cool in Clone Wars, but I feel like this season I'm like, damn, she's that chick. Yeah. Like, she's fucking awesome, and I feel like the Hot Toys is gonna skyrocket. To be honest.
Yeah. Well, it is funny because when you think about it, she's come from being just kind of the unknown, helmeted, like kind of second in command coming. Mando, who I only knew really for slapping Ahsoka on the butt, to being this character. That's what she came from, like her first appearance in the animated series. From that to this, I wish they would a little bit kind of relate her back and have her talking a little bit about like more with her sister Satine and stuff, though.
So Lane,
yeah, but at this point, Satine's been dead for like 30 years.
This let me ask you this. The prophecy that the armor is speaking of, is that like, do we know about that prophecy, or is that just like a thing that they've just randomly introduced? Because I don't
remember that. I mean, other than the stuff with the wielder, with whatever the wielder,
the Darksaber mythos,
which we haven't seen again. Have you noticed? Or no one's asking.
Yeah,
what the hell that
I
is.
thought that the Darksaber and the N1 were destroyed, and it wasn't until this episode that, like, even when the X-wing is landing, you don't even see the N1. I was like, shit, did they blow that up already? Yeah. And the Darksaber, yeah, you haven't seen it. Ben is saying, I'm loving the HBO show Chernobyl. That show is fucking horrifying, especially when you realize, like, that wasn't very long ago. That show is terrifying. It was a great show. If you haven't seen that, that's a great show.
I think the thing is that for me, at least, like you were saying, for me, like for this season, like if we were to say, how do we review? Because we're halfway through now.
We're past the halfway point. We're past the halfway point.
I would say right now, Yeah, I would say this show so far has been a 7 out of 10 for me. So it's not been bad because there's that's for I'm saying for me. I know you don't like it,
Yeah.
but I've liked a lot more of the episode. The only episode I absolutely hated was the one with the stupid doctor because I don't want right.
Yeah.
And you guys already know if you say Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker to me, my head starts twisting around like I'm the freaking Exorcist man. I hate both those movies.
I would say, obviously there's still more episodes, so I reserve the right to.
So it could be really cool
to change this. At the moment, I'm genuinely feeling like this is probably like a 4 or 5 out of 10. It's not particularly good. Like, and it's a shame because I genuinely felt like the first 2 seasons were so good.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just like even as much as I love Baby Yoda, I am like the biggest Baby Yoda fan. But I have to admit that shit where he was like doing a backflip and then like shooting that kid with the paintball was one of the jankiest things I've ever seen. It just looked terrible.
Well, this could be the VX part of the VXF, what they talked about, issues and stuff like that Disney's been having. I will say that, and you guys, I don't know, Fern, you or Dean or guys, but if you had told me that I would actually probably come with, like, as of right now, like this week, from what they've put out so far, that I would probably say Star Trek Picard season 3 overall has been had more compelling storytelling than the Mando for what my expectations were. And I don't watch a ton of the modern Star Trek stuff. I was a big fan of the older stuff, 80s, 90s, and the original series. I was Star Trek and Star Wars. Star Trek was my TV, Star Wars was my movies. But like Picard season has not been like great, but it's been good to some moments of very good. Its storytelling has been overall better than Man of Scene 3. If you had talked to me like say 6 months ago, my expectation, I would have been Picard like 2 out of 10. This, maybe like 7 to 8 out of 10. I don't, but it's reverse, man. I think Picard's actually been more overall, not great everything, but overall has been a more compelling show. And one has 5 episodes out, one has had 6 episodes out of 10, and 5 out of 8. So they're both roughly about as far in the story, I would say equal to each other. So, I mean, if you talked to me a while back that would be the case, I would look at you like you were, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Fern, what do you think, Fern? Copernicus, tell us your wisdom, please.
I feel like, well, a lot of it doesn't make sense. Like, why would they have?
Mic down, Fern.
Oh, sorry.
Christ.
Let me put it back.
Fern's been taking it in, listening to all us, analyzing all our information.
A lot of it doesn't make sense. Like, why the fuck would they have Imperial, like, people working for the New Republic? And it's like a lot of the, like you said, a lot of the seasons is setting up other stuff, and it's like I feel like the whole season feels like a RPG game. Like it
really does.
You're like forced to do other shit that you don't want to do to progress.
you're fighting the same you're in the 5 hours of random monster fights, grinding away to get yourself up the 3 levels you need to not die in like 3 hits to the boss monster.
And that's why Elden Ring was so good.
Well, just kidding.
You've never even played it.
That's true. That is.
You literally couldn't. I don't think you could hack it.
It's not PC?
Yeah, it's on PC.
Oh, really?
The only thing
I mean, if you
makes
could
up
play
for
it, I
this,
could probably play it.
the only thing that makes up for this Mando season is Bo-Katan's walk
Mommy
and shit.
Bo.
I know. She always has that certain walk in every episode.
Yeah. There have been good
words, Fern. I love it.
There have been good character moments, but not some of the storytelling beats. I think like the character moments tying into the storytelling, it hasn't been quite as
vintage
spot on.
Called the Mandalorian. That's funny.
Now this has still been. I mean, I know Zach hasn't liked it, but I still think it's been solid. But it's not been. Season 2 was pretty great, but maybe we haven't had, that one. I mean, season 7 was cool, but there's not been a cool Luke Skywalker moment. But the problem is, I want to have a cool moment like that, and like episode 5 or 6 that helps contribute to sending up maybe like 7 and 8 is like each 45 minutes, so it's an hour and it's like the Siege of Mandalore at the last arc in Clone Wars series season 7, where we had some maybe cool setup or a cameo by a character that plays a part in the story's episode and sets up the last 3 episodes or 2 episodes, which are going to be an hour and a half, like almost movie of taking back Mandalore or fighting some Imperial threat or whatever. It doesn't matter, that's been built up to. And like that cameo helps set up all that stuff in like the final, whether it's the MacGuffin device or the final key, the getting the Mandos to all unite for some big thing that threatens them, or it's like, hey, we have to do this because we're Mandalorians, we're warriors, we seek out the fight, which was a little bit in this episode. But I mean, it's like, it's a show, not a movie, but maybe through some CGI we could get like hundreds of thousands of Mandalorians going to war against whatever, 1,000 Emperor Palpatine clones and blowing them all away.
God, please don't, Lane. Please don't.
Shooting force lightning all over the place.
That
would be great.
We're good on that.
Yeah, if you work from Lucasfilm and you're watching this, do not listen to me.
No. Or those droids that they sent out, the messengers that had the recordings and all that stuff that started Operation Cinder, like a whole army of those things. Palpatine going as they get shot in the face.
I feel like Bo-Katan's definitely gonna kill the Mythosaur.
Why would she kill it though?
That's a legend, man. I don't think she would kill it. I could see her more likely shooting the armor.
And Jar Jar is definitely gonna make an appearance. So,
who's the true Sith Lord? Who's the one who's actually being cloned?
No, he's the one that rescued Baby Yodes.
No, we already got that guy.
Y'all think?
No, but who sent the ship? The Naboo fight. Only
Jar
fucking
Jar,
Jar
baby.
Jar's from Naboo.
I think it was Jar Jar.
was
Some people are saying
definitely
it's
Jar Jar.
Padme, and I'm like, bro, there's no way.
She's
not
dead.
Fucking no.
They could maybe do it's Keira Knightley's character.
For Order 66, they
or
don't.
it
She's
could
not
be
dead.
she was too busy.
Oh,
dying from
yeah,
broken
because
heart.
she'd
Looking
be
at
like
the temple
giving
crying.
birth, but...
No, she's literally looking at the temple when it's burning in episode.
Oh,
3.
shit, you're right. It's not till afterward.
But I don't think that she did it. It doesn't make a lot of sense because she didn't really know what was going on. So why would she send Kelleran back to like save this kid, right? Because he's literally only there to save the kid, pretty much. Like when they're getting pushed back by the 501st, they're like, get her to Kelleran, or get the child to Kelleran rather. Well, we're at let's see, 57 minutes. Anyone want to rapid fire anything before we cut this one off?
I'm just waiting for the show to be over so I can give an overall. Because, if it ties together well, it's like, okay, I can kind of see where you're going with this.
Mm-hmm.
This episode was fun to watch. It wasn't like a drag. It was exciting.
Yeah, and I don't want that to be lost on my take. Like, it's a fun 30 minutes of a TV show, don't get me wrong, but it just has, like, really weird plot elements that really struggle to advance the story, and the ending just didn't make a lot of sense to me. So, I had fun watching it, but I don't think it was particularly, like...
Yeah, especially when you even compare it to a show that's coming out at the exact same time, which is... Bad Batch? Well, it's done now as of yesterday.
Yeah.
But when that story is not doing side questy shit, it's moving along, and it makes sense. Like the pace at which it's going. Yeah, the mood changes, the tone changes, everything, and shit happens, and you're like, oh fuck. And then when this show does it, it's like, but why, or how does that make sense? It's really so different and kind of frustrating. But like I said, I'll wait for it to finish so I could give an overall thought on.
How many episodes are left? 3, right?
I think there's only like 3. Yeah.
Yeah, total 8. So 3 more left. Hopefully they're not 28 minutes next week with the credits.
At the end of the last episode, I don't know why, but I thought It was Boba Fett that got Moff Gideon, but Sabine makes more sense.
Why would it be Moff Gideon though? Or I'm sorry, why would it be Boba Fett?
Well, I don't know. That was my first thought. I mean, who else?
Yeah.
I can
But
say
Boba Fett has no beef with Gideon. He doesn't give a shit.
yeah. All I can truly say is that so far from season 3, there's not been one thing that has happened or character shown up that I go, man, I need a hot toy of that.
Because
No.
Which may not be a bad thing.
Usually, but when every episode starts, it gives the previously on thing. And that kind of gives you some like clue as to what's about to happen in the show. And at the very beginning, it was like the dark saber. Like that was the whole. It started off talking about the dark saber, and then we see Zeb, and then it's like, well, who kidnapped Gideon? There's Beskar here. I immediately thought of Sabine because she wielded the dark saber. She has beef with Thrawn, so she needs Gideon to figure out where the fuck he's at. So that's kind of where my head was going with that. Fern.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they're setting up Sabine for the Ahsoka show. Because we saw Zeb. I thought for sure we were going to see either Hera and her, or at least Hera, but we didn't see
Well, we might see that. That feels like they're going to show up. That's more going to be like at the end of the season or one of the last couple episodes, or maybe Hera gets involved.
TBH, I'm super excited because I love Hera. She's so fun.
I feel like it's kind of ruined the mythos of like what Ahsoka and Sabine did at the end of Rebels, right? Because at the end of Rebels, which is after Return of the Jedi, they're like, we're going to go look for Ezra. And then the next time, like Sabine and Ahsoka were like, we're going to go look for Ezra. And then the next time we see Ahsoka, she's on her own and clearly not looking for Ezra. Or she's trying to find...
For Thrawn.
Well, I take that back. She is trying to find where Thrawn is, which I guess may lead to Ezra.
Exactly.
But
remember,
if
that's 5
Thrawn's
or 6
in
years
control
later.
somehow in the far reaches of the galaxy, then that probably doesn't bode well for Ezra.
Well, it's setting
But also,
up,
where's Sabine at this whole time, right?
well, this is supposed to be the time frame when the First Order starts to actually come into existence.
Yeah, I
With,
understand that.
Grand
Yeah.
Admiral, I'm forgetting what her name was, who helped start founding it. But the Grand Admiral Sloane, who lost the Battle of Jakku and stuff, which was actually setting up so that the remnant forces could form the First Order. Before the final order.
First Order.
And all 5,000 Star Destroyers with laser guns that blow planets up. Anyway, but I'll just say not related to Star Wars since that's what we talked about a lot, but since I haven't had a chance to make a point. You know what? I love the way that Silver Centurion figure looked that they just put out. But man, why does the helmet have to have battery light up and not be USB like the entire stupid rest of the thing?
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Safeful says, I think the Mandalorian takes place before the very last scene of Rebels that you're mentioning. Okay, so I didn't know that. So that actually could make sense. Though, it's my...
I don't think so, because Ahsoka was Ahsoka the White at the end of this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Wearing all white, looked like freaking Saruman.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, they've been fucking up the timeline, so I don't know. He could be correct.
Yeah.
Well, they've been writing over their own
on
timeline.
shit. Yeah, because, again, it's like, why the fuck? It's like, what was the point of season 2?
Yeah.
Literally, the big thing was giving that giant assault cruiser so the Mandos could be united under Bo-Katan.
And then dropping
Gogo
Gogo off at a Jedi. It's like, okay.
And
then you immediately backtracked it with Boba Fett? Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
And then Bo-Katan just said, well, my loyal guys like Axe Woves and Casca Reeve just said, peace out.
I don't understand that. That shit pisses me off.
And so they're all flying around the galaxy.
I don't understand that, Lane.
I'm just
that's
waiting.
Bullshit.
We saw Beskar, so I'm just waiting it to be that those motherfuckers got hired and decided.
Is bullshit, Lane.
Could you imagine how insane people would go, like smashing their TVs if we had Casca Reeves, all those guys get control of that light cruiser, and then we end up with end of episode 7, Moff Gideon standing back on that bridge set because he's back in control of the same cruiser that all
But
his
also,
Dark
like,
Trooper got
even if
sliced
that's
through
what they're
with
setting up, like, what beef would Thrawn have with Mando? That doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I'm
He
trying
doesn't
to.
have any beef with Mando. They want
Or
to do the
Mandalore.
cloning shit.
Yeah, but what does it have to do with Mandalore if that's the big bad guy that they're setting?
That, again, it's like I don't know why we're not already there. Like, no one's on the, like you said earlier, no one's there. No one's on Mandalore. Just go back and start resettling.
Yeah, they're like, we
Why
need
are
to
you
take
on-
it back, and it's like, from who? No one's
Yeah,
there.
and the thing you said earlier about the piece of Beskar in the embedded in the wall.
That
it's like,
fucking
oh,
pissed
the
me off.
literal lightsaber couldn't cut Beskar.
That's what I'm saying.
The spear or his gauntlets,
It's
but somehow
impervious.
it's
Dean, that's what the fuck I'm saying, bro.
it's just bad writing. Like I said, it's just like not good
Well,
as of right now. We'll see
Yeah,
how they explain it. I don't know,
Well,
but
you know, it is funny that the major last story content in Star Wars: The Old Republic was all Mandalorian folks, like setting up a Mandalorian Civil War and stuff, and everything, with the conflict between.
Ooh, I like this comment here.
the
DJ
Sacred
says
Waters
they
of
need the
Paul, but-
sacred. Oh well, let me read the comment. They need the sacred waters to put the Palp clones in. Probably. You know, that's not
That's
the
not
worst
a
theory.
bad theory.
That's not a bad theory at all, DJ.
but yeah. Also, I like Leonard's.
Although
comment.
oh, go ahead.
No, you finish your thought.
Although, like in Kenobi, we saw that they were already doing some weird shit with
Right.
Jedi bodies, right? So, Lemur says, does time move differently from planet to planet in Star Wars? No, they have galactic standard time. I think days may be different
Yeah.
on different planets, but the time frames that they use is all
it-
based on Coruscant time
Coruscant. Okay, yeah, because
Yeah.
they say rotations.
or cycles,
So-
is what they say.
Yeah. Well, I just watched. Bad
I think
Batch,
they
and
use
says
it interchangeably
rotations.
though, because they for
I don't
sure
know.
use.
I always hear
cycles.
rotations, which I assume is days, and
Yeah.
it's based off Coruscant. But not every planet has the same time zone. In fact, it was so funny. I was watching the last episode of Bad Batch, or the second to last episode, and one of the Imperial guys has to go to a meeting, and I was thinking to myself, like, can you imagine the fucking headache of like, what time do I need to be there? Like, I always get confused when we're like, oh, we're on at 8:30 EST
Central,
instead
or
of
yeah,
Central.
yeah.
And I'm like, well, what time is that?
That's why
me?
for collecting weekly, I made the rule a very long time ago, Dean. Whenever anyone ever gives a time, it must always be in CST, and we've done pretty well by that. But when we start streaming with like other people that don't have that rule in their head, they're like, "Oh, it's 2:30," and like we show up at 2:30 our time, and it's like an hour later or
the
we're an hour
show's
late.
over.
Yeah. Anyways, let's cut this off here. Lane, do you have any closing? I know I cut you off earlier. My apologies. Do you have anything you want to end this on? You may be on mute, my friend. Lane, you're on mute.
I'll be on Hot Toys Hotline tomorrow night for our usual Thursday, where we'll be talking about some hot toys. So looking forward to actually having some discussion on that.
Mhm.
And then, of course, make sure you always, if you haven't, guys, you're here, subscribe to CW. They've got some more content. I think this week is supposed to be the small scale tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And then Friday, of course, will be Dean and all the regular crew will be your guys' statue show on Friday night.
Yeah, with John. We're going to do Red Dead Redemption this weekend, so stay tuned for that. Fern, do you have anything you want to add before we cut this one off?
Jar Jar will definitely make an appearance. Mark my words.
I hope so. That would actually be pretty dope. TBH.
Yeah,
Actually, it was
redeem that
Jar. It was Jar.
character, please.
It was Jar Jar that put the Beskar in the wall. Only he can break Beskar.
I know, right?
Well, apparently he's
turned
got.
into a Mandalorian.
Oh shit! I'm sorry, Steve. I missed Steve. He messaged me.
What'd you miss?
He asked if he could join tonight.
Oh, which Steve? Casual?
Casual.
What the fuck, Dean?
Yeah.
Fucking fool.
I know, dude.
Steve, if you ever
Dingers.
want to join, just message me because Dean and Dingus, TBH. Just message me, bro. I'll get you settled. Love you guys.
Well, yeah, because like as soon as the show's about to, I don't touch my phone.
Oh, and
Love
hey,
you guys.
for heading out, Zach, can you say only the way you can? Can we hear Jesse?
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 Actually, Gene does a good Jesse too. I'm so bummed.
I'm
We
the
forgot
one
to
that
talk
made
about
it up.
Jesse.
Well, I didn't make
think
it up, but I'm the one.
Well,
that-
no, the those brothers did.
Yeah,
I don't even know what
what
their
are they
name is.
called?
Anyways,
Something twins.
we forgot to talk about Jesse yesterday, so we're gonna talk about it again on Tuesday. We missed it. We're so embarrassed. we missed it.
You got. I had to catch it. Oh man, that's awful.
Yeah, we well, first off, Lane, you said you watched the episode, so you fucking lied.
I watched parts of it. No, I watched parts
Okay,
of
here
it.
we go. Backtrack it, Lane. Yeah, we I missed that on the show sheet, so we'll talk about that Tuesday. But yeah, I'll take any opportunity I can to say Jesse on air. So
Okay, Steve said he had to leave because we were talking Mando anyway. But
oh, sorry, buddy. All right, love you guys. If anyone wants to come on
Take
After
care.
Dark, hit me up, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
This is the way.
bye.
Take care, everybody.